Welcome everybody, my name is François Letarte and this is my channel JDR30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. So question 30 of RPG Edit 2017. What is the RPG genre mashup I would like to see? Alright, probably more than I would think. Well, usually I say that I'm not a big fan of that, but I think it's not true. I think there are some mashup in my collection that are already there and that I enjoy. But there's one I want to share with you, one that I came up a couple of years ago and even played a couple of sessions in it and just put aside, but I have the intention someday to redo it. And I think I've never shared that on YouTube. I've never really talked about it, but I think it's a good occasion to do it with this question. The first, well, it would be Star Wars fantasy. Okay, yeah, okay. Some will say, well, this is D6 fantasy. No, not really. There will be really Star Wars stuff in it. Some other will say, well, Star Wars is already some sort of a fantasy. Yes, but no, it will really be fantasy as in fantasy, kind of a medieval Europe type, but with Star Wars elements in it and in this world of Star Wars. It was inspired, I think, well, a long time ago. I think in the Game Master screen it came with an adventure which featured some sort of lizard man planet which the rebels are trying to help against the Empire. And the lizard man, lives really like in medieval Europe. Okay, it won't be that, but it was the spark. So it might be a little long video, but I will try to explain what I have in mind with that mashup. Okay, there's a planet, a colony. It was in the old Republic. Okay, it was a colony. Well, it was that was managed by Ithorians. The Hammerheads. Okay, with many other races, but there's lots of vegetation on the planet, and they were there enjoying the planet and studying it. And its star was going to supernova. It was very unpredictable, and the planet had to be evacuated, well, in an emergency. So the Republic sent ships to, well, try to save the most people as they can. And because it's very well, it's very unpredictable, the sun going supernova, as I said. So at some point, some of the ships escaped in hyperspace, but 4 big starships with full of colonies on them were about to go in hyperspace when the sun came into supernova, and without any notice. So at the fraction of second that the ships were entering hyperspace, the explosion hit the ships. So they entered hyperspace, but all the equipment, everything that is technical, that needs electricity, okay, just was disrupted. Droids, all the controls of the ships, data pads, anything, the lightsabers just lost their energy and weren't usable. And at the same time, the second after the supernova hit the ship entering hyperspace, it just got out of hyperspace somewhere, which was unknown. They had no equipment to see where they were, and it was around the planet, and the gravity was pulling the ships on the planet, and there was nothing that they can do. Fortunately, there was many Force users and Jedis on board, and with the Force, they tried to, well, to make the damage, less than it could have been. There was many victims, but many were saved. Okay, many survivors came out of that. So the ship crashed on the planet. It had breathable air, but the environment was very hostile. Okay, hostile weather, strange animals, and ruins of an ancient civilization. So the survivors used to have technology were, well, out of their comfort, as I may say. So they tried to survive on the planet with trying to make their own tools and, you know, finding food and all that. They established themselves on the planet in the hope that someone will come to save them. But no one came. So my campaign would take place 500 years after the crash. So we're talking here about descendants of the first survivors who are not there anymore. You know, the descendants learned, you know, well, were used to that planet and they were living that life without technology. So they came back to some sort of a middle age. They made some villages. You can see the remnants of the crashed ships that are still, people can still go in them. And yeah, and with time, you know, some factions erupted and some nations came about, and yeah, and some wars began, you know. There's on the south Baviar, which is a bad guy. I think it was some sort of an alien. I don't remember. I should check out my notes. It's been a long time, but you know, it was a dark side guy. Okay, yeah, the dark side of the force was there, and he made his own nations between a chain of mountains and was ready to take over the world, while the rest of the world was some sort of a council trying to make decisions to the good of everybody. Yeah, so what we have here, we have the crash ships that are still there, you know, to make the people remember where they come from. You know, they have heard that the technology and how those were working, but never had the experience, never ever. They don't know how it works. They know that it made, you know, that the blaster was shooting fire, but yeah, the blaster don't works. So we have that. We have ruins of an ancient civilization that is still a mystery. We have yeah, we have factions between, you know, the bad guys and the good guys, of course, but the people who are trying to find a way for someone from space to come and get them and pick them up, you know, being rescued again, even though they have never known what was in space, but they know that there's something because their ancestry came from there, and they are the others wants to stay there because, you know, they have found their way and they are well settled. Many, you know, there's many, plenty of occasions to do something interesting. That will be an angle I would like to explore. You know, having all those Star Wars races, but, you know, with swords and, you know, bows, and trying to defend themselves against creatures that may, you know, may have some fantasy into it. The magic, well, it will be the Force, of course. You know, there's many occasions. So that would be a mashup that I would like to try someday. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah, that was my answer for question 30 of RPGID 2017. So, my name is François Letarte. Question 31 in a couple of minutes. So I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.